and we're kicking off with Vince McMahon, who just 1 year after strong-arming his way back into WWE, is facing yet another very serious allegation. The Wall Street Journal reports that McMahon is being sued by Janel Grant, who was one of the women McMahon paid out to during the 2022 hush money scandal. Grant, a former WWE employee, alleges that she was abused and sexually exploited by McMahon while he was, and that he promised her career advancement. Not only that, but it's alleged that McMahon trafficked her to other men within WWE, with former head of talent relations John Laurinaitis being named. It reads, Mr. McMahon and Mr. Laurinaitis on WWE property and using WWE funding both engaged in sexual assault and trafficking of Ms. Grant, both for their own pleasure and as a pawn to secure talent deals with prospective wrestlers they were recruiting. The report does not name the prospective wrestlers that Grant was allegedly trafficked to, but at least one did sign with WWE, according to the litigation. In August 2021, after signing a superstar to a new WWE contract, McMahon is alleged to have texted Grant, "Part of the deal was f***ing you." That wrestler then asked for video from Grant of her urinating, and after she did, the talent wanted to set a play date, but a snowstorm disrupted travel plans. It also claims that McMahon contributed to Grant's deteriorating mental and physical health, sending her to a celebrity doctor and paid $20,000 to a surgeon to operate and improve her health. The claims made in the suit go back as far as March 2020, which is when, according to Grant, McMahon began sharing explicit photos and videos of her with other men. These men included WWE executives and a former UFC heavyweight champion, and in May 2020, McMahon allegedly defecated on her head during a threesome. The lawsuit does not name the UFC heavyweight champion by name, but people familiar with the matter identified the person as Brock Lesnar. In July 2020, McMahon allegedly mentioned that others in WWE wanted to have sex with her after seeing photos on his phone. It's also alleged that individuals at WWE were aware of McMahon's misconduct, but collaborated to conceal it. One text message allegedly sent by McMahon reads, "She may scream and try to say no, although it would be difficult to say anything with a down her throat." In addition to the aforementioned promised career advancement, McMahon lavished her with gifts, though it isn't known currently what they were. It's claimed that on June 15, 2021, McMahon and a WWE exec assaulted her in WWE headquarters, and McMahon forced himself on her in his private locker room 8 days later. Another text message allegedly sent by McMahon stated that, "I'm the only one who owns you and controls who I want to f*** you." McMahon and Laurinaitis promised that Grant would be made a vice president in WWE if she did what they said, but would spend her time as an administrator coordinator. Grant, who worked in WWE's legal department, expressed concerns about the legitimacy of her position and was told no means yes and take it during a June 2021 assault. Grant agreed to an NDA in 2022 that saw McMahon pay $3 million for her to keep quiet about the nature of their time working together in the promotion. However, this lawsuit also claims that while McMahon paid $1 million, he did not pay the remaining amount and cut all contact with Grant. The lawsuit has been filed in the U.S. District Court for the District of Connecticut, and when approached, neither McMahon nor WWE responded immediately to comment. Later on, however, a spokesperson for Vince McMahon said the following: "The lawsuit is riddled with falsehoods, baseless fabrications of events that never transpired, and a malicious distortion of the truth. Mr. McMahon intends to vigorously defend himself against these allegations." While TKO Group Holdings would share the following statement: "It's important to clarify that Mr. McMahon does not have control over TKO, nor is he involved in the day-to-day operations of WWE. Although this matter predates the tenure of our TKO executive team, we take Ms. Grant's serious allegations very seriously and are addressing this issue internally. Grant seeks to void the NDA since she was never paid in full, and she is seeking an unspecified financial amount in damages." In a statement, her lawyer said the following: "Today's complaint seeks to hold accountable two WWE executives who sexually assaulted and trafficked plaintiff Janel Grant, as well as the organization that facilitated or turned a blind eye to the abuse and then swept it under the rug. She is an incredibly private and courageous person who has suffered deeply at the hands of Mr. McMahon and Mr. Laurinaitis. Ms. Grant hopes that her lawsuit will prevent other women from being victimized. The organization is well aware of Mr. McMahon's history of depraved behavior, and it's time that they take responsibility for the misconduct of its leadership." This is a serious situation for McMahon and WWE, which comes at a time when there's a ton of attention on both thanks to the recently announced Netflix deal. McMahon may have beaten allegations before, but this is proving to be a serious issue, and we'll continue to follow this situation for further updates. Brock Lesnar's name is tied heavily to this lawsuit, and what could these allegations mean for the on-screen presence of the former WWE Universal Champion? Lesnar hasn't been seen on WWE TV since SummerSlam, where he lost to Cody Rhodes, and it's been previously reported that he'd be returning as part of the road to WrestleMania 40. Fightful Select reports that there have been discussions in WWE about Brock's return, and as of yesterday, the plan was for him to return during the Royal Rumble Premium Live event. However, it was pointed that due to Brock Lesnar's implied involvement in the ongoing Vince McMahon lawsuit, these plans might undergo a change. Brock would be a huge return during the men's Royal Rumble match, but may not receive the kind of response from fans WWE are hoping for, given what's been stated over the past 24 hours. Do you want to see Lesnar return tomorrow night, or is it best for everyone that he doesn't appear on the show? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Unsurprisingly, the allegations against Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, Brock Lesnar, and others has had the world talking, with everyone sharing their 2 cents on the matter online. On Twitter, one fan said they hope that McMahon and Lesnar experience the same level of scrutiny that Chris Jericho received following the allegations against him prior to World's End. The tweeter continued, saying this casts a shadow over both WWE and TKO just days before the Royal Rumble, and his tweet earned itself a like from Jericho himself. Chris Jericho has been accused of being inappropriate with wrestler Kylie Rae, though Tony Khan has said that he can't speak on unverified rumors being shared online. Jericho wasn't the only ex-WWE star to make a reference to the McMahon allegations, as Maria Kanellis said the following in a tweet. "Sometimes I look back at my life, the things I witnessed, experienced, and overcame, and wonder how I survived. Feeling very grateful today. God is good." Jericho and AEW have faced plenty of scrutiny over the Kylie Rae allegations, but it's now WWE that are feeling the heat, and it was bold of Jericho to like this tweet this week. Smackdown news now, as earlier this week it was reported that Kevin Patrick had been pulled from the commentary team, with a source saying he simply wasn't working. Now Patrick is gone from WWE completely, as PW Insider were the first to report that he's been let go from the company, effective immediately. In an update from SE Scoops, it was said that he was relieved of his duties, though a source said that people get fired and hired back the next day. While this doesn't guarantee that Patrick will return, it's clear that the door isn't closed on a potential return, presumably in a role away from the commentary table. With Patrick gone, Michael Cole will return to SmackDown to call the action with Corey Graves, less than a month after the Irish broadcaster replaced Cole in the role. Despite this situation, Patrick was said to be well liked in WWE, and we'll have to see what's next for him in the world of pro wrestling. Royal Rumble news next, and with the exciting show just over a day away, there's been a lot of buzz and reports about who will be winning the titular Rumble matches. Recently, Sports Illustrated reported that Gunther was now the pick to win the men's match, and that WrestleMania would see Gunther versus Seth Rollins, and CM Punk instead face Cody Rhodes. This is quite the dramatic change of plans from what previous reports have said about WrestleMania's card, and there's a reason why this is all very different. Justin Barrasso, the journalist who reported the Gunther plans, would later recant the story, saying he was given information from previously reliable sources who were now sharing misinformation. Given that Barrasso's source is in WWE, it appears the company itself is spreading the false information, and the veteran reporter apologized for what had transpired. In an update from Fightful Select, it was pointed out that the false report shared by WWE actually shifted Gunther to the top of the Royal Rumble betting odds, but it took many in WWE by surprise. WWE sources who spoke to Fightful said that they've long seen Gunther as a top talent, but were just befuddled by the detailed plans involving top angles and specific claimed results. It was added that WWE speaks highly of Sports Illustrated and of Barrasso, but were confused by elements of his report, which insinuated that Damian Priest would be cashing in by WrestleMania. The source said that this is not the case, and if so, then the clock is ticking for Priest, who has until July 1st to cash in his Money in the Bank contract or risk his promised title match expiring. It's quite the move for WWE to spread false reports about their plans for WrestleMania, and it's clear that the company really doesn't want fans to know what'll happen at the Rumble in advance. During this week's NXT, William Regal made his long-awaited return to WWE TV over a year after his departure from AEW and subsequent return to the Stamford Company. As part of his AEW release, Regal was asked not to appear on WWE TV for the first year of his return, but don't expect the Brit to be a regular moving forward. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer was asked about Regal's role on this week's show and said it was only a cameo and he isn't expected to be on the show regularly. In his segment, Regal confirmed that Ava is the new GM of NXT, and while he said he's only a phone call away if he needs her, don't expect the veteran each week on NXT. Right now, Cora Jade is dealing with an ACL injury, one that's expected to keep her out of the ring for the vast majority of 2024, but she recently was visited by her fellow wrestlers. Jade, a massive CM Punk fan, will have been delighted to see the best in the world show up to check up on her, and he was joined by JC Jane and Roxanne Perez. Perez showing up breaks character as she was betrayed by Cora Jade on NXT TV, resulting in a lengthy feud. And on Twitter, Perez continued this kayfabe breaking, calling Jade her frenemy. Roxanne and Jade may have broken kayfabe this week, but it's not as serious as it once was, and we're continuing to wish Cora Jade a full and speedy recovery. In September, Mustafa Ali was released from WWE despite being in a prominent feud in NXT and reported plans for a North American title reign. When his non-compete clause expired, Ali was quickly announced for shows by a dozen or so promotions, and now the ex-superstar has found his way to TNA Wrestling. In the vignette, a voiceover talks about the changes TNA has seen as of late, and to footage reminiscent of a politician with Secret Service, the voice speaks of bringing in an X Factor. In the closing moments, Ali appears, continuing his campaigning politician character we've seen in promos, saying that he approves this message. Ali has proven to be a hit in his post-WWE career so far, and TNA will be his biggest platform since his release to date, and it'll be interesting to see what he does as part of the promotion. One name fans can see each week in TNA Wrestling is Moose, who captured the World Championship at Hard to Kill, using an array of moves to put away Alex Shelley. One move in his arsenal is the Spear, which he's used to great effect, but that has led to accusations that he essentially stole the move as a finisher from Bobby Lashley. On a recent edition of the Insight podcast, Moose reacted to the claim of stealing the move, saying he started doing the move in ROH in 2014 before Lashley was using the move on a regular basis. Moose said that plenty of people have used the Spear in the past, but did say that when Lashley was the top guy in TNA, he was asked by management to come up with another finishing move. Lashley has since returned to WWE, leaving Moose free to use the move as he sees fit, and expect plenty of spears as part of what Moose intends to be a long, dominant reign as world champion. Back to WWE, and it's no secret that CM Punk has never shied from making his opinions heard, and that was especially the case during his nearly decade-long absence from the company. In an infamous tweet about The Miz, Punk encouraged the A-lister to go suck a blood money-covered in Saudi Arabia, before decrying the A-lister as a dork. It seems, however, that Punk and Miz have made amends, as in a recent video shared by WWE, the pair can be seen talking together about Royal Rumble strategies. Triple H said after Punk's return last November that he's grown as a person, and judging by his interaction with The Miz, that certainly appears to be the case now. Over to AEW is this week's edition of Dynamite, held at the Enmarket Arena in Savannah, Georgia, and while the state has a regarded history in wrestling, the townsfolk weren't interested in AEW. On Twitter, a photo was shared online of tons of empty seats, and while the venue has a capacity of 9,500, only 2,098 tickets ended up being distributed for the show. A total of 2,535 tickets went on sale for the show, meaning that 437 seats were available to buy, but simply weren't purchased by fans in the arena. This is hardly the first time that AEW shows have seen dismal attendances, though Tony Khan hardly helps matters by booking venues that AEW, right now at least, has no hope of filling. If Khan were to book smaller venues, then his shows will look more packed out, though booking smaller venues would no doubt be seen as an admission of defeat by the AEW president. This week's Dynamite saw plenty of exciting action, including a dream match between Minoru Suzuki and Adam Copeland, but it simply wasn't enough to put butts in seats in Georgia this week. It's hardly a secret that AEW has struggled to fill venues across the United States, but the company has a strategy that should, they hope, make photos like we saw this week a thing of the past. While speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer explained that AEW is adjusting its live events touring strategy and plan to reduce the number of shows in smaller markets. That means that events such as in Savannah or Bossier City, the home of this week's Collision, could become a thing of the past, as AEW hopes to focus on bigger markets like New York and Philadelphia. The report adds that this plan has come directly from Kosha Irby, who oversees event bookings for AEW, and he was the regional director of live events for WWE from August 2011 to June 2018. AEW has tried several methods in the past to boost attendance, with some Double or Nothing 2023 seats going for as low as $10 each, and we'll have to see if Irby's strategy pays off in the long run. More from AEW, and it was at Double or Nothing 2021 that Anthony Ogogo made his AEW debut, but after his feud with Cody Rhodes received mixed reviews, he hasn't been used regularly on TV. Ogogo hasn't wrestled for AEW since August 2022, where he defeated Luke Curtis on an episode of Dark, and despite this, the Olympic bronze medalist will be staying with the company. While speaking on AEW Restricted, Ogogo revealed that he has signed a new deal with AEW, expressing his enthusiasm for the opportunity, and said Tony Khan is confident in his potential. Ogogo also stressed on the importance of gaining more in-ring experience, which he's been doing in indie promotions, and it remains to be seen what AEW does with Ogogo under this new deal. These days, LA Knight is one of WWE's most popular superstars currently competing, but things weren't always easy for SmackDown's resident megastar. Knight arrived on WWE's main roster as Max Dupree, as Vince McMahon initially believed he was too old to wrestle, but even getting to this point was difficult for Knight. During an interview with ESPN.com, WWE Hall of Famer Shawn Michaels revealed that WWE looked at releasing Knight several times during his NXT run, despite Shawn seeing something in him. Michaels explained this is why he made a special effort to keep Knight in storylines, with his reasoning to WWE higher-ups being that they can't get rid of him in the middle of an angle. Addressing Knight's age and McMahon's belief that he was too old to wrestle, Shawn said he never saw this from the 41-year-old, who he says wrestles like he's brand frickin' new. Now Knight's role in WWE is far more secure, and while he's not expected to leave the Royal Rumble as undisputed WWE Universal Champion, this high-profile match alone just proves how far he's come. And we're ending today with Logan Paul, who is in his first reign as WWE United States Champion, and fans should expect to see much more of him in the years to come. During a video shared to Instagram, Paul revealed that he and WWE have reached a new deal, but didn't say how long his contract with the promotion is for. Perhaps he would have shared the details had Kevin Owens not arrived at the Performance Center and brawled with Paul, and it took several trainers to pry the two apart ahead of their upcoming match. The Maverick signed with WWE in 2022 and has impressed even the most cynical of fans. And what do you think of Logan Paul signing a new contract with the promotion?